Welcome back everyone to a new video. Today we're going to talk about 5 different gadgets that I found to be very useful in my everyday college life that I think will be essentials in yours as well. So if you'd like to know what my opinions are on these 5 gadgets, if you already know what they are but still want to hear my opinion on why I consider these essentials, watch through till the end and you might pick up on some new things yourselves about these devices. So with that being said, let's get started. So the first item that I wanted to talk about is the dongle, and dongles come in all sorts of shapes and sizes. I got this one, which is a QGEEM dongle. It's about $25 on Amazon. Dongles don't really need to be that expensive. As long as they do whatever it is that you need them to do, then it's perfectly acceptable. So this dongle actually comes with 3 of the USB Type A 2.0 type USB. I'm super bad with the names, but you get the point. They're the Type A, they're the regular like rectangle ports for the USB. And it's got one USB Type C, and it's got one micro SD slot and one regular sized USB slot. And then it plugs in using the USB-C type connector. And I really find dongles to be annoying, and I don't really want to use them because they're just clunky and clumsy, and depending on the type of dongle you get, they can kind of like come with the cable, so that's kind of annoying. But they're really essential in that these days computers and laptops and notebooks are all getting super small, and because they're getting smaller, they're actually getting rid of more and more ports. Now if you remember a couple years back, before the new lineup of MacBooks came out, they still had the wonderful SD card slot reader, but back then I wasn't into video editing, so I didn't need to use that anyways. But now that I am, I need the SD card slot reader and it doesn't have it. So anyways, I use the dongle for a lot of things, not only just for the card reader, which I really need, but also just to plug in extra ports that my computer isn't compatible with. So for example, I have a lot of devices that still use the Type A USB ports, but my laptop only accepts USB-C. So I have to plug this dongle in and then plug in those USB Type A devices into it so that they all work together. Now I'm going more and more towards Bluetooth devices, but they're more expensive and I haven't fully converted all of my equipment to Bluetooth yet, so I'm still using the dongle primarily just to connect devices and to have the SD slot reader. And as USB-C grows bigger and bigger in terms of market share and devices, you'll probably have some devices eventually that will only be USB-C, and you won't really need a dongle to connect and convert the USB Type A's. But you still probably won't have the SD card reader if you are using a MacBook, so I still highly recommend getting at least one of these. So the next thing on the list is the Amazon Alexa speakers, and I only have dots because they're just smaller, they're more convenient to have, and they still produce great sound and they're relatively cheaper. So that's what I've been using primarily. Now Alexa's speakers have been some of the more prevalent and more prominent names in the industry in terms of smart speakers. There's also the Google Home series, and then Apple also has its HomePods, and I'm pretty sure other companies have their own versions, but they produce great sound. I use it all the time as like my main speaker. Instead of using like wired or wireless speakers, I just use the Amazon Alexa. And you can also do a lot of cool things with skills that they have. That's one of the unique things that I think the Alexa has over the others. There's still skills that I think Google Hub can do skills, but the developer base for the Alexa community is actually greater than the Google Hub, and it has more skills. So that's why I prefer the Alexa over the Google speaker. Also, as you probably know, it has the voice assistant Alexa. This is where it gets the name from. And she's also very helpful, very useful. I use it to ask questions all the time. But the other reason why I decided that this was one of the essentials is because you can develop skills using it, and it doesn't really require that much coding knowledge anyways. On the Alexa developer webpage, there's actually a lot of tutorials that you can go through to take your knowledge from zero all the way until, developing skills for the Alexa. And because it's such a new field, there's a lot of chances for you to grow, develop these skills, and be in demand for perhaps making a skill for somebody or setting up the Alexa in someone else's house, setting up with skills, and then getting paid for that. It's a great way to build out a skill set that is in demand and doesn't have a lot of competitors currently. And recently I actually read an article that Mark Cuban, as you might have seen on Shark Tank, he's one of the sharks on Shark Tank, he's the owner of the Dallas Mavericks. He said that if he were to be in this position right now, if he were in college, one of the things that he'd do was pick up an Alexa, pick up the development skills needed to develop skills in Alexa and just go door to door setting up Alexas, putting in skills, making skills, creating them to make a side hustle, side business off of that. So if you want, this is not just a speaker, this is not just a voice assistant, but it can also be a source of income for you as well. So that's why this is an essential. I think right now the Amazon Alexa, the dots at least are about $50 on Amazon. So they're a good purchase. I think for the money, you get a lot of cool features out of it. So definitely worth the money. You can check it out on Amazon. I'll leave a link in the description down below for you to check out. Let's go ahead and move on to number 3. The next gadget is pretty straightforward. It is a brush for your computer. And for me, it's an essential because I just like keeping my things nice and neat and tidy and clean. So I always get kind of paranoid whenever there's specks of dust or maybe crumbs on the keyboard or anything like that. This is used, the top part is used to clean the face of the screen. And the bottom part is something you can use to push out and then brush lightly on your keyboard, and that'll get rid of like any dust particles or any crumbs or anything from the keyboard and keep everything nice and clean. So this thing is around $10 I think on Amazon. It's the OXO Good Grip Sweep and Swipe. I'll also leave a description in the link for you to check that out if you'd like to get one of these. It's relatively cheap, only $10, and you can get a lot of functionality out of this and a lot less anxiety that you have dust and smudge marks on your keyboard or your screen. So this is something that I definitely recommend. Moving on to the fourth thing will be this power bank. This particular power bank I got from Kickstarter, and I don't really know if you can buy this anymore, but it's really useful. It's 10,000 milliamperes, which is, I guess it's standard, or maybe it's underpowered, I don't know, but it works enough for me. This one has one of the universal like phone things that you used to use for Android phones before USB Type-C took over. It's got one USB Type-C port and one USB Type-A port. So this is very versatile. It can be used to charge basically all my devices that I need. So this is actually really useful. I use this all the time. My phone is, out of all the devices that I have, it's the most outdated one. I have an iPhone 7 Plus or something because I lost my other one. So I just got that one for cheap. And that battery is great and all, but it's like the more I use it, the more quickly it just depletes itself. So I just keep this in my backpack, throw my backpack, and use that to keep my phone charged wherever I am throughout the entire day. If I use it a lot, I'll probably use this to charge it back up to full power. This can charge my phone about 2 to 3 times over. So I literally never have any trouble with like battery power or anything like that. And because it has USB Type-C, I can use it to charge my laptop as well, which is very convenient. I wouldn't really recommend it because the conversion for power isn't as great charging from a power bank, but it still gives me more juice for my laptop and all my other devices, which gets me through the day without any issues, which is why this is one of my essentials as well. You can probably pick up variants of power banks that are 10,000 milliamperes for about $20 each, and if you want greater capacity and bigger power bank, then you could probably go up to $50 or $60. But this one, I think I got it for about $24 off Kickstarter, so I think that was a good deal for me. And last but not least, the Amazon Kindle. Now the Kindle is something that I got one 2 years ago, I think, and then I lost it. And I didn't really pick one up again until a sale on Amazon Day, and I've been reusing this for quite a bit, and it's really been changing the way I read. I think there's a lot of videos already on how great the Amazon Kindle is, but I really just want to reiterate how essential this is for especially college students, because a lot of the times we don't really have that much time to go out and just get books to read because we're always out and about, and putting books in your bag, especially for me, because my bag is a camera bag, there's not enough space to put books in there as well. Usually all my devices are just snug in there, so I don't really have any space to put like physical books. So I just keep this along with me. Sometimes it's even small enough to fit in my pockets depending on like the pants that I wear, but it's definitely something that you can take along wherever you are, and it lasts forever. Like the battery lasts for weeks without having to recharge it, and it recharges relatively quickly, so you'll always basically have all of your books with you. It's basically like condensing all of your library of physical books and condensing it into a tiny package that can be accessible anywhere, and really is a lot better than reading on a tablet screen, computer screen, phone screen, etc., because it uses front lit technology. Now, if you're not aware of what front lit technology is, basically the Kindle has 4 lights that shine light onto the screen itself of the Kindle and allows it to be illuminated for you to see. But it doesn't shine the light directly into your eye, which is what most of the electronic devices that we have do. Instead, it lets light bounce off the e-ink on the screen and lets that enter our eyes instead, which is much better for eye strain and much better for just reading, especially if you're reading at night, which is what I think a lot of people do, reading a few pages here and there before going to bed. And so this will reduce a lot of that blue light emission, reduce a lot of that eye strain, and get you to read books more comfortably, which is one of the barriers when it comes to like reading. It's, you know, lack of convenience, lack of portability, lack of the addition of eye strain when you try to read on an electric device. This kind of just gets rid of all of that. So I really appreciate it for what it is. You can also buy the books cheaper on the Kindle instead of you bought the physical book version. And so yeah, I've been doing a lot more book reading lately thanks to the Kindle, and so that's why I consider it one of my essentials as well. You can pick one up from Amazon. This one is probably the one that I'd say, I said the video title, these are all under $100. Most of them are actually under $50. This one, I bought it on sale for about $99. If it ever goes on sale again, it'll probably be back at that $99 price tag, but you can definitely buy the smaller Kindle at, I think, $90. I think is the retail price. And you can buy refurbished Kindles as well, the Paperwhite, at least this is what I have, for like $100, $109, something like that. Usually this retails around $129.99 though, but I still think that's a fantastic deal. But if you can pick it up at the $99 price tag, which is what I did, it'll definitely be a lot more worth it for you. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you got a lot of value out of it. I hope you pick up some of these gadgets if you haven't decided to already, or if you don't have them already, because as I said before, I consider them my essentials. It's what I use on a daily basis and it's improved my quality of life quite a bit. So thank you again for watching my video, and don't forget to smash that like button, comment down below so I can respond to you, and subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you in another video. Ciao.